Rocket Lab's breaking even today, but just made a 20% move, and they're not even launching rockets. They're building the future of space tech from the ground up. And is Wall Street sleeping on this one? Let's take a look. When it comes to Rocket Lab, we had a few levels mapped out. It was May 6th here that we recently made a video. May 9th. Let me double check there. Video details. Yep, undervalued. We said Rocket Lab, and that video was posted on May 6th or May 9th, I should say. Yep, May 9th. And on May 9th is when it found its bottom, actually, right here at $20 a share. And we bought some in our Charles Schwab portfolio just to kind of add to our longer position. But now it's actually made that move and it's up about 27% from there. And then it just peeled back a little bit here down to $23 or 23 cents. 23% at $25 a share. And Rocket Lab, I have a friend that works there, and I was introduced to it around $3 to $5 a share back in 2023. And since then, it's gone up to $33 and then recently pulled down. So, what you need to know about Rocket Lab, some of this recent move here was a break above a previous resistance and a previous support here. So, let's take a look. See that $23 and 30-cent range. It's a previous resistance and a previous support. But it does look a little overextended. You can see it just pushed up pretty big about, as we mentioned, about 25%. And that's the move that we're able to catch. But with that move, now we're looking maybe a tiny bit more risk on the near term. The long term, however, does seem, and not totally, I wouldn't say it's fully overextended. It might continue up more because in this trend, I mean, we might see a 10% swing if it continues up. And that's fine. We're just going to hold that position. But what I'm saying is it does look a tad overextended, and we'd want to see that it really validates the support here at 23.30, somewhere in there. So there's three things we look at. There is the news, the charts, and the financials. When it comes to the news with Rocket Lab, they are an innovative company because they do things end to end. They have their solar that they create. They do their own microchips. They create satellites and they launch satellites for other companies. So other companies, commercial and in the government, pay the US company Rocket Lab to get their satellites up into space. So from idea to orbit, end-to-end space company delivering reliable launch services. Dedicated small launch there. And you can see that they specialize in not just launching rockets, but all the other things that go into it, from the solar cells to the software to the flight and ground software and different new hardware that comes out. My friend Benjamin specializes in building writing the code for some of their hardware. And he says they're really innovative. They do a lot more than just launch rockets. They do satellite components and supply a lot of the do a lot of manufacturing for those parts. So as far as product looks good, the industry is growing fast. As we know, they have a lot of focus and investors in the space industry. They say that space industry has tremendous upside because let's say we find there are other asteroids where you can go to those asteroids and they have gold or more plutonium or more platinum and other different resources that in the future, they say 50 years from now, asteroid mining is going to be the next trillion-dollar industry. I mean, those things, or maybe not even asteroid mining, but just in general exploration into other solar systems. And so, they're at the forefront right there with SpaceX. They help other companies to launch satellites to compete with SpaceX, and they have a lot of contracts. So that's kind of the product. When you get into the market and the product, it's exciting. You see growth. Then you get into the news. Now, they recently have return missions, 2 months. Rocket Lab demonstrates rapid re-entry capability with third Pioneer spacecraft for Varda Space Industries. They got NASA launches here. There's a NASA launch for astrophysics science to study galaxy evolution. They got U.S. Air Force contracts, Department of Defense contracts, even the UK, they work with defense contracts there. They're helping launch satellites. They've launched hundreds of satellites into space, and they got some, like right there, US Space Force $5.6 billion program. They're getting the revenue, and that kind of brings us, so news looks good. That brings us into their financials. The financials, guys, are good. Their quarter over quarter revenue is increasing. Got 100 million there, 104, 132, and then recently reported 122 million dollars in revenue. So increasing 32% year over year. Overall, financials look pretty good, but the net income is something to watch. They're investing back into their company. That's why you see the negative net income, and they've been pretty adamant about doing that. So it's not something to maybe worry about because they're generating much more revenue, around 122 million. Their profit margins, though, are volatile. However, what's good is they consistently are beating their earnings per share and their revenue by sometimes double digits. So 17% surprise there in the last financial report. So you look at the chart, you look at the news, and then when we get down into what's recently happening in the margins for profit, it's kind of our third step. What we have here is a position we recently entered on May 9th, when I said I'm buying Rocket Lab, and it's going well. We're up 20% on the position. Now it's looking a little overextended. So when it comes down to the chart, a couple things to consider. There's two things we're looking at. The first is that we have this near-term overextension, but the long-term looks very good. You can see long-term swings here where it starts to break out. The next levels here for the long-term potentially would be a swing up here into this, $31 range. And then if we see previous highs get touched, we're talking about $33. So what is that? That's up here. That's about a 40% increase. And that's to highs. Their current market cap seems to be at around 11 billion, but the types of contracts they're getting and the future financials, in my eyes, seem to be lining up for Rocket Lab to have returns in the future that would be favorable and could be favorable. So that's why we're watching it. And when it comes to Rocket Lab, we trade it live most days at market open. Some of the biggest moves happen at market open. We passed it up this morning on a shorter term trade to add to our position or do a short term trade, simply because it started the day up pretty green. It was up to 25.90 right here at market open when we tuned in to StockMate live. And then we're like, nah, let's just take a moment. And what do you know, it really dipped down to about 24.90. We were more excited not about the stocks that were green, but the stocks that were red at market open, which was LAZR, the LiDAR company that's been very interesting. They're partnered with Mercedes and some other Volvo, some other car companies where they have this LiDAR that can basically go on a car and help it to become autonomous in its driving. And they were down big after their recent earnings. We ended up buying this morning after they had stabilized after being down for about a day and a half. And we were able to make about 7%, as you can see on that trade. So that was good. Overall portfolio is doing good, about 3.79%, because looks like Tesla is up, Nvidia is up, CTM stock is up as well. So that was a nice little trade we were able to make. If you guys ever want to watch us trade space stocks, quantum computing stocks, and learn how to invest in the AI boom, right now there's a lot of companies that are upcoming, whether it's for data centers or new energy demand, that are moving fast and I believe are the forefront of some of the best companies to invest in right now. And if you want to be there, we go live every day at market open, daily live sessions, the second link in the description. We also have a huge sale as we just reopened the VIP for the virtual stock trading system. So we have 6-week kickstarts, and that's the first link in the description. That might include this free t-shirt, which you get when you join StockMate, that I'm wearing right now, a StockMate t-shirt, but it also includes one-on-one with me, as well as the new software that we recently launched with Mercatus. So our beta software that is going out for analyzing and predicting different market growths in emerging markets. So looking forward to it. Thanks so much for watching. Again, it's the second link and first link below if you'd like to join us. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts on Rocket Lab down below. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.